Let's give Mr. Karthikeyan Pandyan a very, very warm round of applause. Now, it so happened that I had come in a little early yesterday, and I was sitting in his room, and I saw some of these videos, and I said, we must have this here, because if, as they say, a picture speaks 1,000 words, I think a video speaks 1,000,000 words, and that is what we saw of the work that Mr. Pandyan has done there. I actually first met Karthikeyan Pandyan in 2017, when I'd come to interview the Chief Minister. And what struck me about it was that as soon as I entered, here was this, you expect normally IAS officers, a lot of pomp, show, and, throw of authority. But there was this person who was sitting behind this very simple desk. There was devotional music coming. As soon as I walked in, I became very serene. I think it was some Punjabi devotional music. I can't remember it. And then subsequently, as I got to know him, he was the most unusual IAS officer I've met. Firstly, he's called Mr. 4 a.m. He gets up at 4 a.m. He jogs. As far as I remember, he used to run, I used to swim. So we used to exchange notes as to which was more required more stamina or not. And he has kept that routine, even despite the most important things that he's done. Now, Karthikeyan Pandyan has a very interesting background. He comes from an agriculture background, did a degree from the prestigious Puja Institute. And I think that is what has kept him rooted in a lot of the development that's there. He then joined the IAS. I think that is the time you met your wife as well, Sujata Pandyan, who was here earlier and spoke on Nari Shakti. And then took some of the most difficult collector jobs when at a very early age. And I think two of them were very important, was Mayurbhanj and the Chief Minister's constituency, Ganjam, where he stood out for his innovative and out-of-the-box thinking, working day and night, unlike most collectors who would sort of sit back and say, okay, let everybody else work. He was out there in the field. And if I tell you this, the whole evening would be taken up just talking about what he did as an IAS officer. And then in 2011, the Chief Minister has noticed that there's this young IAS officer and picks him as his private secretary. And that begins a relationship that has not broken, unbroken record of 12 years. And during that time, you have seen the kind of pace of change that has happened. And a lot of that had to do with Karthikeyan Pandyan's work in terms of making sure that things were being executed right, that the Chief Minister's vision was being implemented. And then, last year, he changes his avatar again. He has an avatar as an agriculturist, avatar as an IAS officer, but avatar as a real hard worker. And now his latest avatar is he has joined politics as part of the BJD and been appointed the chairmanship of the 5T program that's there, as well as, I think, one more big responsibility, the new Odisha, which we talked about on all these things. So let us begin, Karthikeyan Pandyan, by asking you, you could have as well stayed as an IAS officer, continued the work. Why did you shift to politics? First, before we get to the other brass tacks.
You start with the bouncer directly.
It's cricket season.
If someone has asked whether I would join politics maybe before January of last year, I would have just laughed and I would have said, this is one of the best jokes you have cracked. I never had any plans of joining politics till last January. I started touring in February, March. Then I realized that there is a strong connect with the people in the sense that the love and affection of people would not justify me by doing what I was doing as an IAS officer. There are some restrictions when you are an IAS officer. That made me to have an internal dialogue with myself, whether I should continue to be in IAS or I should shift from IAS and join the inspired leadership of our Chief Minister, beloved Chief Minister. I think the people got love and affection won finally. Otherwise, I had no plans whatsoever of joining politics. And if you ask, even now many of my batchmates, my classmates, none of them believe that I'm in politics. Even I don't feel that I am in politics. It has not got into me as well.
You know,
That is a fact.
Yeah, a lot of the officers have joined politics even from the Odisha cadre, and we don't need to name names, but everybody here knows who were there. Why did you decide? I mean, here you could have stood for the MLA elections this time, right? Elections is going to happen. So is the member of parliament. But I see you've taken no post except an official post of 5T chairman. Why didn't you want to contest elections? If you're going to be in politics, you might as well do like in the IAS, you became a secretary, all that. Why don't you go through that progression? What is the plan?
I am very clear that I want to help the Honorable Chief Minister Shri Naveen Patnaik to get his 6th term and continue to serve the people. That's my only objective, one and only objective.
Wow.
No personal ambitions.
Okay, and that might change or may not change, but let's talk about 5T and move to the definitions are very interesting. Transparency, teamwork, technology, time, and transformation. How did these 5 principles evolve? What went behind the thinking? Because this is now a new mantra of management. And as you have demonstrated, and we saw in the video earlier, highly successful in terms of transforming. I would not have believed it till I saw the parikrama work that is there. In any other place, and I'm being very frank, to have removed all those structures around and cleared up that 75 feet would have been massive protests. I mean, you would just try knocking down one little, obstruction next to your house, you will have the whole neighborhood sitting on your this thing. How did you go about transforming? Let us take the Sri Jagannath temple. And this is the pride of Odisha, known all across. What was the technique you used to ensure that you got the job done with minimum, let's say, force and maximum empathy?
I think the 5T principle of Honorable Chief Minister, his governance principle, it clearly explains how to take a task. What is transformation? Small things are changes, but transformation is something huge, something very impactful, something which has not been tried before, which will have far-reaching impact. So the Chief Minister in his 5th term decided that people of Odisha have been so loving towards me. In a democratic setup with social media scrutiny, so many things happening, it's very difficult to enjoy the love and affection and trust of people for so long. So when he got the 5th term, he was very moved and he said that, Mr. Pandian, I don't want now changes to happen. I want transformation to happen.
Wow.
I want big things to happen. I want the state to fly. I don't want the state to walk. I don't want the state to run. It has to fly. Every sector you select, we have to set benchmark, whether a national benchmark or global benchmark. That should be our attitude. And if it involves paying some political cost, I'm happy to do it.
Wow.
Even when we started the Sri Mandir Parikrama project, some very important people had advised the Honorable Chief Minister that many stalwarts had started before. In fact, as Gajapati Maharaja told in one of the interviews, that 500 years nothing of this scale has been done to the Sri Mandir. So the discussion when someone important spoke to Honorable Chief Minister was that so many Rajas, Maharajas have come and gone. So many British collectors who are very powerful. They had both judiciary and administration executive with them. They couldn't get this done. And 2 chief ministers had also tried before. So are you sure that you want to do it? Because it involves a huge political risk. If you do one misstep, people will judge you for that. And it is a sentiment, it's an emotion of people, not just in Odisha, throughout the world, all Jagannath Bhaks. The chief minister said that I'm very convinced and committed that I have to get this thing done for generations to come, to have a serene experience, to have a divine blissful experience in this temple. This is very much required. We have to decommercialize areas which are close to the temple so that devotees have the first choice. They have the first right to enjoy the temple from all surrounding. Otherwise, you will be hit by a bike or a car if you have a walk around the temple previously. Now you can peacefully have a walk. Imagine after 30 years, 50 years, why a young generation person will come to the temple. he will also need peace. Finally, we all go to the temple not to just ask something to the God, but to get that peace, that internal peace. That divinity has to rub us sometime, not some motorcycle or car. Chief Minister was very clear that I have to do this. And second important point was that there were so many lodges so closely located to the temple. There was a huge security risk for the temple always. In fact, we all know in the recent past how temples have been attacked.
Right.
So many temples have been attacked. And Sri Mandir also has a history of getting attacked. Historically, so many times it has been attacked. So when we did whenever there is a security alert, it will say that safeguard the temple. That's it. The intelligence alert will come. And you don't know what will you do, because there are these 6-story, 7-story lodges and buildings so close to the temple. If someone sits there and lobs a grenade and throws it inside the temple, it's very easy to create such a huge issue or damage the structure. So the chief minister was very serious about the security of the temple. So was Raja of Gajapati, Puri Raja, Gajapati Maharaj was also very serious about this security of the temple. Then, of course, the experience of the people. So these are the two reasons why this project was started. And the chief minister, as I said, that he risked everything. He said that I am determined to get it done. And the principles of 5T, teamwork, it's complete teamwork. It's a classic case of teamwork. And if I have to speak about teamwork, all of you will get bored, so I won't speak about it. It's a combination of all the departments, Sevayats, people's representatives, Gajapati Maharaj, the SJT, everyone got involved, and that's how it could happen. I should say that, as Honorable Chief Minister always says, Sabu Tankara Icha, means everything is his wish and his desire. And he always quotes this, that without his will, not a single leaf will move. So we all surrender to him and leave it to the Lord. He wanted that this time his temple has to be cleared up, and this person will clear up, and this is the way it will be cleared up. So it's his grace that we all witnessed his grace flowing through this part of the country.
Now, one of your T's is time. Somehow there was a thought across, and there was also this, it was pointed out, that Sri Ram Mandir was also simultaneously being constructed in Ayodhya. And you all beat that whole process by 5 days. Was there a race that was going between the two?
Not at all. Not at all. Ram, Jagannath, all are same. Who can differentiate Ram and Jagannath? Finally, it's reflection of people's faith. You call it as Ram, you call it as Jagannath, you call it as Hanuman, you call it as Joseph, you call it as whoever. It's the faith of the people which one has to respect. And our plan was to complete the Sri Mandir in 2023, but it got delayed because of a Supreme Court case which went on for 6 months or so.
So there was no race between who will
No, we don't have any race with anyone at any point of time.
But I think the other interesting thing is that you just didn't focus on Sri Jagannath Mandir. And you have used this to transform, I'm told, how many? 8,000?
10,000 temples.
10,000 temples across the state. That's quite amazing. The second point I found quite amazing was that simultaneously you did mosques, you did gurudwaras, and you did
Churches
as well.
And also there is a sect called Alek Mahima here. This religion is born in Odisha, and it's a very unique religion. All their temples and everything has also been renovated or in the process of renovation.
So what was the big message that you were sending out? Because generally there's this thing that, you know, the Hindus are doing their thing, but the other religions are being neglected in some senses.
I think it is bigger than being secular. That's what I would say. I quoted in one of my interviews, it is spiritual governance. Every human being has got faith on something. In a democratic setup, it's important you honor the faith of that person. Whatever is his faith, whichever God, whichever form, formless, whatever it is, one has to respect and honor the faith of every individual. If you do that, you do a spiritual governance, you will have peace, you will have prosperity, and maybe the Lord will bless us.
Well, Odisha has shown the way that you can develop everything simultaneously. Let's move to another area, and we saw flashes of that in the video. The way you have transformed schools and, hospitals. These were the two areas that you could notice in that. Now, again, what is the plan? How did you all go about it? Because here are things that have been neglected for a long time. Government schools, by the way, have always, people have shunned it in other states. You seem to have turned it around and said, let's make it the most attractive thing. What did you all do to achieve those two things?
It's honestly, it's part of a very large plan for the state. If the state has to progress, we have to make some things happen. One of the things is 70 to 80% of the children of Odisha are dependent on government schools. At any point of time, even with mushrooming of private schools and opening of at any point of time, at least 70% of the students will still be dependent on government schools. If the state has to reach the next level, this 70% kids should be empowered to dream big and to achieve those dreams. Until unless you do that, the state cannot fly. So the chief minister's target, the state should not run, it should fly, can happen only if 70% of Odisha also are empowered to dream big. And you encourage them to dream big and give them the best of facilities. You give them smart classes, you give them science labs, you give them the best of equipment, sports facilities. You create an ecosystem in which the kid feels more confident and he has the conviction that whatever his dream is, he'll be able to achieve. So this is part of a larger plan of building a new Odisha. So to build a new Odisha, education is one of the pillars, and we consciously selected high school to start with because in history we have got to know that whenever you have an intervention in high school, it gives the maximum benefit in the shortest possible time. It's like low-hanging fruit. The kid has crossed the primary and middle. He is knowing what life is all about. That is the place where you can hit. And when you hit that place, whether it is China, Vietnam, South Korea, Singapore, all these places, whenever you have a resource crunch or you have limited resources, the first thing you have to touch is high school. So we have transformed all the high schools in the state. We'll be the only state who have, I would humbly say that we'll be the only state in the country to have transformed all 8,650 high schools. And I had the pleasure and privilege of speaking to each school at least for 2 minutes in the last 3 years before the transformation. And I must say that I'm personally attached to this program because I'm also a product of a government high school. I have traveled 18 kilometers up and down to high school.
Wow.
So I have
walking or bicycle?
No, bicycle. You can't walk 9 kilometers and come back 9 kilometers. So I used to cycle 9 kilometers going and cycle 9 kilometers coming back. And I know how one feels sweaty when you enter the class, when you cycle 9 kilometers. And in 1.5 hours after you enter the class, your stomach will start growling and saying that, oh, you are hungry. So, but that burning desire is there. Okay, you have to focus on your class. You have to achieve something. You have to make a name for yourself, your parents. So that government school kid ka whatever was there inside me, I thought all the kids will have. If we just provide that opportunity, environment, they will all come much bigger than whatever small things we have achieved. So that is the conviction with which I personally, with Honorable Chief Minister's vision and his inspiring leadership, we carried forward.
And I noticed you brought one more T into that, which is there in your 5 Ts. A lot of technology. I saw you have screens that people are using as we would do in very advanced schools.
So all the blackboards are in the high schools are transformed into smart boards now. So a kid, instead of learning in 2 dimension, now he'll learn in 3 dimension or 4 dimension, whichever way may you present. It's not just physical transformation of the schools which has happened, but we have also re-engineered the entire curriculum, the software component, life skills, attitude. I think in next 3-4 years, Odisha will be a big thing with the kids coming out of these schools. Very big. It's a matter of time.
Now we've got about 12, 13 minutes. They can extend a little more, but
If they are not bored.
if they're not bored and they're not tired, he's always been considerate. But just, sorry, did someone say something? One of the things that you've been with the Chief Minister now for 12 years, as Private Secretary and now as his...
I have been with him for 18 years now.
Wow.
I was Ganjam district collector for 4.5 years, which was his district. Right. So I used to have almost everyday talk with the Chief Minister, and he was hands-on in his constituency and the district. And then almost 13 years now, so 16, 17 years I have been working closely with him, actually.
Can you, I mean, there's no other better person than to tell us what is the success mantra of the Chief Minister. He's 5 times Chief Minister, won 5 consecutive elections, now on road to history to become the longest serving Chief Minister. What is his mantra of success? What is his management style?
I think it's very simple. What in Bhagavad Gita Krishna has told. Do your work and leave everything rest to God. That's it.
Wow.
He does it very, very nicely. He has no expectations. What should be the outcome? What should be the output? He doesn't break his head. He puts his 100% in whatever he does and then leaves the rest for the results to come. And people pay the results. And in public service, if you ask me how he is very successful, he is using politics as a medium of serving the people, not vice versa. He is not using public service to be in politics or to be in post. And the best part is, people of this state have understood that this man is not doing politics, he is doing public service, and he is in politics for doing public service, not the other way around. And that is the reason, like you said, 7 times consecutively he has got the most popular Chief Minister in the country. I remember the first time he got award was in 2003.
Yes.
I was sub-collector, a young sub-collector in a place called Dharamgarh in Kalahandi. The day that you were India Today, that time I think digital print was not there. He had carried the hard copy and he was reading, and he had come with that copy. Maybe he picked up in the airport or somewhere. So that is the first time he got, 2003. And now we are in 2024, 2 decades. Imagine the kind of, I gave this example somewhere else as well. To get first rank in a classroom, all of us have to really struggle. To get first rank in a school, you have to really work hard. If you have to get district first in a school, district first when you are in school, it's so tough. And every month it is a struggle for a child to be in that number 1. Some month the child slips. So much of dedication, so much of sacrifice, so much of hard work, everything goes into to reach the top, whether it is sports, whether it is any field, you take any field. But being in number 1 at national level for so long, and that too in such a subjective field in which every angle one can scrutinize, and with the invent of social media, 24 hours your activities are scrutinized. But still to maintain that number one rank in the country as the best or most popular Chief Minister of the country is something which I would say that it's because he is seeing this as public service, not as politics. The day he thinks that people have not appreciated for his public service, he will stop his public service. He will stop it. He will stop politics.
Wow.
That is the kind of personality he is, if I know him very well.
He doesn't hang on to power?
No, hang on to post or power or politics.
Wow. Okay, but
he is completely unlike a politician. And that is why he has been so successful in politics.
That's what I want to check with you. I want to know, you have seen the transformation that's happened of the state. How has Mr. Naveen Patnaik changed since the first time you met him in Ganjam and you served him? And now, what is the big difference you see in him? Has there been a change in philosophy? Has there been an impatience? What is it that is the growth factor in Naveen Patnaik?
I don't think there is any change in his core values. I have seen him coming back from Rayagada, a district called Rayagada. he had gone to see, this must be in 2006-7, in a place called Kashipur, this, what is that, diarrhea deaths had happened. So he had gone there to visit along with the then health minister, Mr. Duryodhan Maji, and 2 other people. On the way back, he was supposed to have refueling in my district, where I was posted as collector, Ganjam district. So he landed. It must be 4 o'clock in the evening. So I got a call from the chief minister's office that time that CM has not had anything, including a drop of water. Please keep lunch ready so that he can have a late lunch at this time. So we had kept everything water. We know the menu of the chief minister. So then they landed. They went to we took him to the place. He kept quiet and he didn't have food. All others were having food. He just kept quiet. I asked, sir, I took the liberty and asked him, sir, should we change some item or should I get something else? Or if you are liking something or you are not finding it interesting. He just kept quiet for some time and then he walked out with me and said that I don't like people dying out of diarrhea.
Oh.
And he didn't have food that day. It was very touching that there will be a chief minister who has seen diarrhea deaths and he won't have his meal. He'll miss his meal. Nobody is bothered whether the chief minister is eating or not. But to himself, he made that resolve that my people are dying, I won't have my food now.
Wow.
You asked whether he changed or not after that. So we all know that there was a huge train accident which happened.
Yes, recently.
Bahanaga. We were all doing some work at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening. Then the first message came and they said that there has been a huge accident. Then we got into the details. Then they said it's going to be hundreds of deaths. And there is one bogie, all other bogies we could reach. People could reach, the NDRF, everyone could reach. But that one bogie, nobody could reach. So,
yeah.
So it must be 8:30 in the evening. So I told the chief minister, sir, this is what happened. The one bogie is completely under the engine. And he asked me how many people would be there. Maybe 200 people. That's it. After that, every 5 minutes he kept asking, how can we save them? How can we save them? Can we get the crane from Calcutta? Can we get the crane from whichever part of the world? We should try and get it at the earliest. Talk to Prime Minister's office. Talk to everyone possible. Let's get that crane and try and save these people who are under the wheels. And it was dinner time for him, 9:30. So as usual, we asked, sir, you can have dinner and we can continue our rescue mission. He said, no. When so many people, this is not something which he is concerned about because Indian Railways is the train is coming from some place to some place and the accident happened here. See that human inside him. He said, no, let's see how fast you can get the crane, how fast you can mobilize people, how fast you can mobilize every other bogie we could take care except this bogie because the machines were not available to lift and it was completely crushed. And he missed his dinner again.
Wow.
I tried my best to motivate him. He missed his dinner and said that tomorrow morning what time we can take off to that site. I said, sir, sunrise 6:30, 6:45, 7. I'll go there and after that I'll take a call, not now. So that is Mr. Naveen Patnaik. You asked me whether he has changed in so many years. And because he has not changed, I think people of Odisha have also not changed him.
Now, have some water because I'm going to ask you some question on politics.
Okay.
One of these things is that they say Naveen Patnaik relies too much on the bureaucracy, and you're one of them, now in politics. And he leaves everything to his officers, and really politically, his party is not involved in the development. That is one of the reasons for success, but that's also one of the reasons for his complaint. What do you have to say to that comment?
I think this is a claim which generally the opposition parties raise this claim, especially during elections. They use, because they can't raise anything against him. They can't talk anything about corruption. They can't talk about service delivery. They can't talk about transparency. They can't talk about completing projects in time. They can't talk about setting benchmarks in disaster management. They have to say something about the Honorable Chief Minister. So like how in Gujarat they used to say that Mr. Modi was very dependent on bureaucracy. Like that, they tell about Mr. Naveen Patnaik as well. This is not at all true. He is a Democrat in heart, and he takes everyone's views very, very seriously. And he gives a lot of respect to the system, and he knows from whom what work to be done, who has what strength, and finally people elect him to deliver. So he is very clear about it. Who will deliver what is the strength of his team, what is the strength of his bureaucracy, how to harmonize everything, and finally he is answerable to the people, and he does it very well. He does it in style. Every time he gets a higher percentage of votes. So that shows that people like the way how he functions, but he gives utmost respect and utmost regard to all institutions which are pillars of democracy, whether it is judiciary, whether it is legislature, whether it is cabinet, everything.
Why would people elect Mr. Naveen Patnaik for the sixth time? What do you think will happen in the next 2-3 months? The campaigning will begin next month and you'll be voting soon. What do you think will be the outcome this time?
As usual, people will bless him with a bigger majority. Every time he gets a bigger majority than the previous, so people love him so much, as reflected in your survey. So they are deeply in love with the Chief Minister for what he has done for them and what connection he has with the people of Odisha. They are very, very intelligent, and they know how to give him bigger mandates every time so that he feels good and he delivers more, perhaps.
One more question on that. It seems like you seem to have a friendly match with the BJP. You have Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav, who's you'll have supported as a candidate for the Rajya Sabha MP recently. And the fact is that when it comes to the Lok Sabha, would you say the results would be the same as last time? BJP did win quite a lot of seats last time as compared to the previous time. So what would happen on the Lok Sabha front?
Biju Janata Dal will do really well in both assembly and parliament. That's what all our surveys say. They are going to get one of the stupendous victories in the history of Odisha.
No friendly match with the BJP.
So as regards the friendly match, the Chief Minister clearly said in his, the BJD had released a press release. As we all know, Mr. Naveen Patnaik is not a typical politician. He won't do politics. He will do development. What did he say when Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav was supported? He said, I want railways to develop in the state. I want telecommunications to develop in the state. I support the Union Minister for Railways and Telecommunication to be a member from this state so that he does the extra mile running for the state. We all know that Odisha has one of the least coverage in railways, and one of the biggest challenge for us is telecommunications, and both are central subjects. So we needed that support from the central government. So in case he has to deliver more Rajya Sabha seats also, he will do for state. Whatever is in the interest of state, Mr. Naveen Patnaik will do. And that is the brand of politics he follows. He doesn't follow the politics of hate. He doesn't follow the politics of doing politics for the sake of politics or elections. In fact, he doesn't do politics at all till that nomination filing. Till that time, he is only bothered about the state, its development, people, empowerment, building a new Odisha. So his objectives are very clear, and people of Odisha see it very clearly.
No, so does that mean, okay, he's allowed Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav because there is development. When it comes to the Lok Sabha seats, will there be a friendly fight there also? You take 7, I'll take 10, this kind of thing?
I think some things have to wait for some more time. We should not discuss political strategies in India Today platform.
But let us come to one more question that is there, and then I will leave you off politics.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to a bit of this. Okay, Mr. Naveen Patnaik is likely to get a 6th term, that's what you're saying. One of the things that political parties, regional political parties,
Not only I am saying, you ask any one of them,
Okay.
they will all raise their hands.
we are not doing a poll here, but,
Yeah.
but I'm saying one of the things that regional parties have is the issue of succession. You have a powerful leader. We've seen it in West Bengal. You've seen it across in many states, KCR, recently Chandrasekhar Rao. Who do you think, is there a second line of leadership that has been built for the BJD? If Mr. Naveen Patnaik, for some reason, wants to step down after his sixth term, you think there is, the BJD will survive as a party and also have a proper successor?
If we all know Mr. Naveen Patnaik so closely, we all know him very clearly, how he thinks. He is very futuristic in his planning and thinking. He would have planned out something really, really nice. And as he always says, the people of Odisha are very smart, very intelligent, and they will select my successor.
Okay? You're not in that race.
The people of Odisha will select the successor for Mr. Naveen Patnaik whenever he wants, and he has clear plans for it.
Okay. Round of applause. He has not only become a bureaucrat, politician, now a diplomat. Answering it properly.
At least in 100 questions, I have to show my diplomacy in 1 or 2 questions. That much concession you can give. Otherwise, I am brutally honest.
Now, coming finally to, let us see, what are you going to achieve in 5 Ts now, in the 6th term? What are you planning? How do you want to take Odisha to the next level? What is in your mind in the next 3-6 months to do? And what is the promises you give the people of Odisha?
As the Honorable Chief Minister said that in 2036, Odisha will be celebrating 100 years of statehood. So 1936 to 2036. So the Chief Minister has given us a target. Don't target 2036, target 2034. Now we are in 2024. We have to target 2034 because we should have a buffer of 2 years at least. So that if we miss some targets, we should be able to make up that. So 2024 to 2034 is 10-year period, 2 5-year terms. This is going to be the golden period for Odisha. And we have a clear route chart made as to how the people of Odisha should aspire for a new and empowered Odisha and how it will be transformed into a new and empowered Odisha. We have a clear-cut roadmap which has started in 2019. Now in 2024 to 2034, we are going to implement it in a faster, smarter, more inclusive way, which will have a huge role for youth of the state. We are going to do some things which no state has done, no country has done for the youth of the state. You might have heard about gender budget, you might have heard about climate budget, you might have heard about agri budget. We are planning to have a youth budget. If our budget is 2.5 lakh crores, a substantial sum in the next 1 decade is going to go to the youth of the state, and we'll make them more competitive, more able to achieve their dreams. So that is how we plan. The Chief Minister plans to build the new Odisha. His quote is, New Odisha, Empowered Odisha. Everyone should feel empowered to achieve their dreams. However poor they are, however rich they are, however remote they are, however in rural, urban, whatever divide they have, but they should have that guts. My child will achieve this. My daughter will achieve this. My kid will achieve this. That is the confidence you should give and build an ecosystem for that. When you allow the children, when you allow the students, when you allow the youth to dream big and empower them to achieve, I think nothing else is required. And the Chief Minister, if you see his 24 years of his government, every term he has done something substantial. Maybe first term it was poverty, corruption, disaster management, like that. You see his path, food security, irrigation, like that it is coming, then women empowerment. Now is the time for youth. That's what he has told all of us. And the youth of Odisha will show to the world what youth power is and how they can transform in the fastest possible time a state.
Let's give a very warm round of applause for that. I was just thinking while you were speaking that somehow it seems that you want to beat Mr. Modi at the game. Mr. Modi says Viksit Bharat 2047. You are saying Naya Odisha by 2036. You almost
2034.
34. Okay.
And we
much,
are on
much
it.
earlier than.
Absolutely.
And he calls it the Amrit Kal period, and you call it the golden period in the next 10 years.
I think gold is gold standard, maybe that's all. Otherwise, there is nothing.
And finally, of course, 3 minutes. Let's ask you a personal question about what is your mantra? I mean, here, do you still jog, run? What keeps you going? What motivates you personally?
I meditate a lot. So that keeps me grounded, and that gives ideas, that gives you intuition, that gives you a peace. In fact, whenever I talk to students in college functions and everything, maybe they'll think I'm very boring, but I tell them that at least for 15 minutes, start meditating. If you start meditating for 15 minutes, then you will fall in love with meditation. You will know what benefits meditation can give. It will become half an hour, it will give 1 hour. Your life changes forever. And I'm one of the biggest beneficiaries of meditation. I go with the flow. I don't have any plans. Surrender to the Almighty and go with the flow. Just meditate nicely. If you meditate, you will know that you have to take care of your physical form, which is your body. So whatever is good for you, you do yoga, you do run, you swim, you do whatever you like. But you will know the importance of keeping your body fit. You will know the importance of sleeping in time. You will know the importance of eating healthy. You will know the importance of keeping away from social media, keeping away from drugs, keeping away from drinks. So this is something which I keep telling to the youngsters whenever I meet, that just 15 minutes of meditation religiously, it makes a huge change.
Well, I'll follow that. 1 more minute, and I want to talk about your relationship with the Chief Minister. When you speak to him and when he speaks to you, what is it that, how do you get, the decisions out of him? What is it, a most recent example, you gave us an example earlier of how, he cared for the people, and you talked of the diarrhea incident and then the railway incident. A more recent one where when you're interacting with the Chief Minister and there is a decision, people like to understand, how do you speak to him? Is he snappy? Is he quick? Does he say, Mr. Pandian, just do this? Or does he still call you Mr. Pandian? Every time I see him, he says Mr. Pandian.
What he calls depends on his mood. It changes. It keeps changing. So when you are working with somebody for so long, the relationship is very different. And it's a kind of value addition which keeps happening. We discuss things, and I'll give you a small example. It's not a very recent example, maybe like 6-7 years back. A very interesting example. One IAS officer's maternity leave application had come. So he was signing the application. I was getting the files cleared from him. So he asked, Mr. Pandian, so IAS officers get maternity leave. I said, yes, sir. All the officers, any government servant, all of them get. So what does it mean? I said, sir, they get paid during the time because they can't go to office. They may have to rest. They may have to. So then he asked me, he had a serious look at me and asked, what about these women who are working in the field? Do they have to work till the last day till delivery? Then it struck me, perhaps yes, sir, because if they don't go to work, maybe they will not be able to get their wages and they may not be able to feed themselves, some of them at least. Maybe you have lifted some people, but many people would be still there. It was 2010-11 like that. So then he asked, can we do something? I want to give at least 10 days, let them not go to work before their delivery. Can you work out something? That's how the Mamata scheme was born, which is a path-breaking scheme for the entire country. He wanted to give money to poor women, not to work till the last day of their delivery, and let them have the freedom. If they want to work because of fitness, it's okay. But if they have pain, if they are in discomfort, they should have the choice of not going to the field and working. And he empowered them, I'm using the word consciously, empowered them to take a decision for themselves, whether they want to go to the field or not. He introduced 5,000 rupees as Mamata scheme. So government cannot just like that give money. So what do? We decided that's our work. That is my value addition or Sujata's value addition. Institutional deliveries are less in Odisha. We have to improve institutional delivery. So you do institutional delivery, you will get 2,000 rupees. Okay. Vaccination is less. You do this vaccine at this time for the child, you will get 1,000 rupees. You do this vaccine, you get 1,000 rupees. So you basically incentivized or bribed the mother to do all good things by giving money. And at the same time, he also achieved the objective. He wanted to do something for the woman in the fields working in under sun. She should have that freedom to decide whether she wants to work or not. So this is how our discussions happen, and you all will agree that you will get inspired if you get a chance to work like this. And I am like completely inspired by his walk, talk, everything of the Chief Minister. That's why I don't see anything beyond him.
Well, since you mentioned Sujata, who's the boss at home? Your two IAS officers.
You know who will be the boss. Always. And I would like to take one or two questions if we have time from the audience.
Come, anyone wants a question?
Just 3 questions.
Okay, 3 questions. Here's one gentleman.
Yeah, somebody can give the mic.
Mic here, please. Is there a mic?
Because always it should be participatory.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's too boring for...
Yes. Now you're doing your politician act. Participating.
Oh, okay. No, that is taught to us in academy itself.
3 quick questions. There is a mic there. Please give it to him.
I'm Anand Kumar Mishra, and I was working in Google prior to this. Left US, came back to Odisha to start a venture of our own, which is called GrowZip. So, first of all, thank you for whatever you have done for the state and for the youth. So, for the last 5 years, we see startups coming up. More than 2,000 startups have registered, and in 2025, we are looking for 5,000 startups. So, what do you think your vision for startups to build unicorn billion-dollar ventures?
I think we'll leave very technical questions because the audience may not appreciate it. It's too technical. Ask something general, it's better.
Okay.
Everyone should be interested. This we can have a discussion separately.
What are your hobbies?
My hobbies?
Yes.
My hobby is, it differs throughout the day. Early morning my hobby is meditation. Next is running in the track. Then maybe in the day listening to music. Then in between sometimes you take 20 minutes break and watch something comedy. Refresh yourself. So throughout the day your hobby keeps changing. No fixed hobby.
Okay.
And how do you handle...
There's one more question. We've had...
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. My name is Sohan. I am one of the founder at Not In Line. Here I am, sir. So it's a healthcare-based startup. So I just want to ask you one question. As we are initiating this Noa Odisha and we are developing all the things, 5T and all. So in the more hospital scheme, like how we are improving and how people of villages are still struggling to get a bed in BSKY. We are in the healthcare industry. See, we are facing this. People are struggling to get a bed availability in lot of hospitals. Sometimes people doesn't know which hospital has this bed available, and they are moving to different hospitals and all. How we are doing something so that it can be.
So we are going to have a technological solution for that. We'll have all the beds mapped, available in an app, from which they can easily make out where the bed is available and they'll be able to access.
Actually, we are also working on it, sir. If
Thank you.
We can pitch it.
Okay, I think one
Hi,
question
sir.
from...
Ladies as well.
Yeah, one question from here. One second. We'll just give you the mic. Come. She's been wanting to ask.
Namaskar, sir. Many congratulations for taking the state on the path that you're taking us. I just want to know one thing, that you are actually hounded by the opposition. Where does this great confidence come from? It is so inspiring to see you walk so tall amidst all the criticism that's thrown at you.
Good journalistic question.
That's
Good
very
journalistic.
inspiring.
I don't know whether I should give a spiritual answer to this or a, or a physical or a normal answer. Maybe I'll try a normal answer first. If you know what you are doing and you see the smile of people when you go out, that genuine smile. Today, in fact, I traveled about 55 kilometers in Brahmini embankment in 50 kilometers, and I wanted to see for myself how people get affected with that floods and what can be done and what will be a long-lasting solution. So I traveled about 30 kilometers by car and 20 kilometers I have to travel by bike. Vinil was also there with us. When you travel in those places where you would think that you won't be recognized or you won't, that smile and that love of people is so humbling. Whatever the opposition does, whatever the opposition talks, it's all worth it and it doesn't matter at all. And also, I have also learnt a bit from our Chief Minister that you have to be clear in what you do. Forget about others. If you are truthful to yourself, first you be truthful to yourself. What you are doing is right, and you will sleep peacefully at the end of the day, whatever you have done. If you have done that, continue with what you are doing. If you are not able to do that, quit. Don't continue. So, they don't exist actually. They don't exist. In fact, sometimes you have to respond or reply because you are in a situation you have to respond or reply. Given a choice, I would not reply at all or respond at all. You have a direct conversation with the people of the state or people of the country. That's much better. They are very simple, straightforward. They understand truth.
Very good one. Final
Hi,
question,
sir.
last question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. It's
Who's him?
evening. Good evening to everyone. I like on a lighter note. I just want to ask you. There's always a woman behind a successful man, but here we find our Chief Minister, our beloved Chief Minister. You are there, a man behind a successful man. Just small question for you. You have been a bureaucrat for so many years. Right now, it's a new avatar for you. Can you tell us what is the transformation that you are feeling right now from a bureaucratic setup to having a political setup?
Let me first clarify the first part. I think the 4.5 crore people of Odisha are behind the Chief Minister, not me alone. It is the people's love and affection. If he has to miss a dinner, miss a day for seeing tears in people's eyes, that is his commitment, that is his conviction. So a little bit of a change. He actually considers the people of Odisha as his family. He always says that. For you are unmarried, you are a bachelor. Somebody asks, he says that, yes, I have a 4.5 crore people family. That's my family. I have brothers, I have sisters, I have sons, I have daughters for whom I have to work for. So your next question
The
is...
other one is it different being a politician from a bureaucrat? That's what he wants to know.
If you are a good human being with a clear heart, whatever work you do, there is absolutely no difference. You want to see that smile in the people's face, and you want to be part of little bit of changes, whatever you could make. That's it. I don't see any change between when I got up at 3:40 in the morning and as Mayurbhanj collector, and there used to be a place called Rairangpur, which is about 120 kilometers from the district headquarters, and our office starts at 6 o'clock in the morning in summers. So 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock is morning office. I got to know that most people are not coming till 8:30, and 10 o'clock they'll go back. Because it's so far, you won't go and check. So I got up at 3:30 in the morning and woke up the driver because it has to be surprise visit. Took him and went all the way to Rairangpur to check. 6:05 I was there to check whether people have reached or not. So that is the conviction with which one has to work.
Final question, Kaushik Deka, who's our executive editor from India Today. Kaushik, go ahead.
when Mr. Sengappa
I think
asked
Mike
you,
got bored.
no, it's, he asked you about the opposition criticism about that Mr. Patnaik depends heavily on the bureaucrats like you. You mentioned about Gujarat. You gave an example of Gujarat. So that actually triggered this question. So here we have Prime Minister Modi and here we have Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik. As political leaders, could you mention one similarity between them and one difference? And I hope you would not be diplomatic this time. You have taken
One similarity between Modi Saab and Patnaik Saab, and one difference between the two.
Okay. The one similarity could be that they both are committed for their causes and they do real hard work. Good one.
And the difference?
The difference I would say is that in the style of functioning perhaps, as Mr. Raj Changappa was telling that our CM is very silent. He talks very less. So maybe the way in which they carry out work, our CM gets work done without talking much, or maybe that is his style. And Mr. Modi takes reviews, takes meetings, his style of functioning is different. So maybe that is the difference. I have seen both their functioning little closely when you get to see in meetings and everything. So our Chief Minister trusts people and knows that core competence is here. So he will know where to do what. But the main difference would be that style of functioning. That's it.
You have left a lot unsaid, so let's give Karthikeyan Pradin a very warm round of applause. He spoke frankly to us. He opened his heart out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a very, very warm round of applause.
Yes, this session deserves a standing ovation, isn't it? Everyone.